this is Lana Jones with BlueBunnyHollow.com, and I would like to show you how I do a knit beanie on my multi-needle machine. The tools that I'm going to use are, first, obviously I have to have a knit beanie. I'm going to use the OESD heavy weight black stabilizer. There are many cutaway stabilizers that will work for beanies. Since this is a cafe and their items will be washed a lot, I like a heavyweight stabilizer. I will be using Floriani Perfection tape. I'm going to use these Sew Tight HD magnetic sewing pins. I really like these, and I'll give you some hints about them on areas I do and do not use them. I need a marker. I need my fast frame, and I've determined that this is the fast frame that fits perfectly for the design I'm doing. And I have my stabilizer already pre-cut in the size I need it. I need some temporary spray adhesive, and 505 is my favorite. I need a ruler for measuring and marking my beanie. Okay, so the first thing I'm going to do is mark my beanie. Set this stuff aside. And I am going to, I've already measured it. I know exactly where I want it to be. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my marker and I'm going to turn my beanie inside out to mark it on the inside of the right side of the beanie. Here's the little tag, so I know that this is the back side and that this is the front side. Lay this out so it's nice and flat. And I want to mark, make sure that I can easily find center. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So 1, 2, 3.5 will be my center point. That's going to be center. And I'm going to go right up to the seam, and I will mark that as my center. Oops. Okay. And now I know that my design is 2 inches in height, and I want the bottom of the design to be 1/4 inch from the ribbing. Okay, so I'm going to measure 1 1/4 inch from the top of the ribbing. So to make it easy, I'm going to put the ribbing right along this line here, so I know where I'm measuring from. And I will take my ruler and mark 1.5 inches above, or excuse me, 1 1/4 inches above that line. So I'll have to press down a little bit to make sure that I can actually see that I'm at 1 1/4, and I will mark that. Okay, so now I have my placement line marked on my beanie. Now I need to attach the stabilizer to the hoop. In order to do this, I'm going to spray it with spray adhesive. Now the way I always spray adhesive is I always put it in the bottom of something. So if I have a garbage can close to where I'm working, and I'll take and push all the debris down, put something over the top of it, a piece of paper or whatever, so I don't pick up any debris, and I spray it. If you spray it inside something, then the fumes don't come up and hit you in the face. So I'm going to take my 505 and I'm going to go spray my stabilizer. Okay, now it's going to look like a lot, but I'm spraying it on gray stabilizer, so it looks like more. But just spray it enough that it's going to hold. Now on your fast frame, this high part is the front, as the top side. Okay, so I want to put my stabilizer on the back. Okay, so I'm going to take it and I'm going to lay it and center it as good as possible. Oops. And press that down, flip it over, and I'll press that a little bit better in a second. I'm going to clip it on this side, clip it on this side. I'm going to clip off the corners, and then I'll fold all this over and make sure it is a nice tight fit. Okay, and then fold this up. Then flip it over and press that down so it's nice and firm against the hoop. Now I'm going to take my ruler again, and I've already measured where the center is on this one when I put it in my hoop or put it in my machine. The way I found the center was I just hit the thread cutter. Once the design was in the center of the machine, once you have it in the center of your machine, hit the thread cutter and you'll see where the thread goes in, and grab that little thread and make sure it stays in there. And now you'll know exactly where the center is. And when I measured that for this design, it was 2 3/8 inch from the bottom, and then the center of this particular frame is 1 3/4 inches. So I'm going to mark the center this way first at 1 3/4. And now I'm going to measure it this way at 2 3/8. So now I know where the center of this particular frame is. Now I'll take my little beanie and I'll match up my markings. And press that so it holds with the spray adhesive. And then I'll take one of my little Sew Tight HD magnetic sewing pins. These are just awesome. And I'm going to put that here. Now it will stick, excuse me, I did that wrong. I want this on this side. And I'm going to reach underneath here and let that clip on. So now that's holding on there. I do not use these on the side on this narrow a frame, because when it gets to the tube in the center of the multi-needle, the magnetic sew pins are so strong it can actually grab those sewing pins. So if I want to use those, I would use a wider fast frame, and so that I have more room so I don't get close to the center tube. So I only use this one at the bottom. Okay, now I'm going to take and flip this right side out. I'm going to make sure everything is nice and firm against there. And then I'm going to take a piece of the Floriani Perfection tape and put that right across the bottom here, just so that it doesn't move. And again, I can't use the magnetic strip here because of the fast frame that is on my machine will grab that magnet. So I just use a piece of tape here. So the only place I can use that is right here. Okay, so now it's all centered. I don't have to do anything else to make this work, just put it on my machine. I'm not using a topper as it is not needed because of the way I prepared this design. I added a knockdown stitch. This knockdown stitch stitches first to hold down the knit. This is needed especially in this design because of the narrow lines going around the outside of the logo. I am using a thread that exactly matches the background fabric, and I'll talk about that when I place the hoop on the machine. Here at my machine, I already have my design on the screen, and you notice it is upside down. When we put the fast frames on with the beanie, it is going to need to be turned upside down. So don't forget to do that. And I'm ready to stitch. My machine's already loaded with all the colors. So let me load our frame. For the knockdown that's behind the logo, I've loaded my machine with this Paracotton poly thread from Quilter Select. It is an 80 weight thread. They also have a 60, which would be fine. So it's not as shiny as the embroidery thread, so it's not going to stand out as much. Okay, so I'm going to load my frame, my fast frame onto, oops, loosen this up a little bit. You have to go up and over the little notches here and then tighten that down. I already know it's centered. I don't have to do anything else. All I have to do now is hit lock and go. once the embroidery is done, I'm going to remove the frame from my machine. I have to lift it up just a little bit to get it off the little notches. Now I'm ready to remove the hat from the frame. I'm going to first remove my little magnet. Remove the tape. And then remove the stabilizer from the frame. And I will have to work at this just for a second because I have to lift all this off. And then take it off of the frame. And now I'm going to take my applique scissors and remove the stabilizer. Make sure you first pull it all away because remember we use sticky spray. And I like these because this helps me prevent from clipping the knit. So I'm going to just take my time and go around this and carefully cut away the stabilizer. Okay. And then turn it right side out for your completed beanie. Thank you so much for watching. Hope this helps you do your next knit beanie. Please check out bluebunnyhollow.com for some great embroidery designs.